Eric Ferguson, this is what you've paid me throughout the 3 years for my blood. Now that I've paid you back, we don't owe each other anymore." Nicole's voice was cold and resolute. Eric's eyes were dark and deep, and his mood at this moment was extraordinarily complicated. The crowd was clear about the situation at this moment. Earlier, Wendy Quaid labeled Nicole as a gold digger who clung to Eric for his money, but in the blink of an eye, Nicole slapped her in the face by returning everything Eric had ever given her. Wendy's reputation had gone down the drain with this incident. Nicole walked away glamorously while Wendy was left with chattering teeth as she shivered in the cold. "This woman is my nemesis," Wendy thought. "Eric, Nicole must be mad at me again. Let's just go." Eric refused to let go of this opportunity to clear things up with Nicole and said to Wendy, "Wait for me at the entrance." After that, he went straight in and saw Nicole sitting on a deck chair while the renowned Grant Stanton knelt by her side and rubbed her ankles that were slightly chafed by her high heels. Grant's gaze was so tender that Eric found it jarring. The two of them looked up at the unexpected guest. Grant Stanton smiled and sat calmly next to Nicole as he put an arm around her in a protective stance. "Mr. Ferguson, shouldn't you be comforting your companion? You're still in the mood to settle scores right now?" Eric frowned. His body was exuding an extreme coldness and his gaze was locked on Grant's hand that was wrapped around Nicole. His tone was frigid as he said, "Nicole, if I've done something to upset you, you can look for me to settle the score, but you should apologize for what you did to Wendy." Nicole hooked up her lips slightly and met his gaze. "What if I don't? Will you throw me into the water?" Eric was displeased by her blasé attitude. Seeing that she was so quick to be associated with other men, Eric also felt inexplicably vexed. "Since we used to be married, let me give you a word of advice. Be kind to others. Mr. Ferguson, I guess you don't know me very well. I was born evil." Eric choked. Nicole's stubbornness was especially infuriating to him, but since they were divorced, he was in no place to tell her what to do. His tone was cold as he spat out one word. "Fine." He then turned to leave. Eric was so exasperated that he forgot his purpose of coming to Nicole. He had wanted to explain to her about his relationship with Wendy, but there was no need for that anymore. Nicole's smile faded gradually. Grant patted her shoulder. "Lil N, do you still like him? How's that possible?" Nicole sneered. She would not make the same mistake twice. In Eric Ferguson's car. Wendy Quaid was wrapped in his clothes. She was just about to explain what happened tonight to dispel Eric's doubts about her when the driver exclaimed in surprise. "Eh? Isn't that Ms. Quaid?" The driver slowly stopped on the side of the road and pointed to the huge digital billboard behind the Hilton Hotel. That advertising space that cost tens of millions of dollars per minute was looping the footage of Wendy and Nicole at the poolside earlier. Their faces had been censored, but the celebrities and dignitaries who went to the banquet knew the identity of these two women. Eric's eyes were fixated on the screen. It was a silent video, but it clearly showed that Nicole did not even touch Wendy. The latter just took a step back by herself, leaned back, and fell into the pool. In an instant, the air in the car became cold and stagnant. Eric's face was even colder. His eyes were stern and gloomy because just a few minutes ago, he had gone to Nicole and asked her to apologize to Wendy. This was Nicole's reply to his request. Ridiculous. Simply absurd. Wendy's face was pale and she was trembling with extreme fear. She never would have imagined that someone would play the surveillance footage from the banquet on a digital billboard that could be seen by the entire city. Bang! The car door was slammed shut. Eric Ferguson stood outside the car. His tone was cold and stern and his gaze was implacable. "I'll have someone send you to France first thing tomorrow morning." Wendy Quaid pleaded in the car, but Eric Ferguson just felt like he had nowhere to vent his wrath. If this was fake, was anything ever real in the past 3 years? As Eric stormed away in the cold wind, a flashy sports car slowly stopped by the roadside. The person inside waved to him, "Bro. Get in." Keith Ludwig was also at the banquet earlier to network and witnessed the spectacle. Since Eric left in a huff, Keith got bored and followed suit. He did not expect to see Eric walking by himself at the roadside. Eric sat in the passenger seat and lit a cigarette. When he saw the smoke, he thought of Nicole's figure when she held a cigarette earlier and stiffened. "Bro, you saw Nicole, right? What's her relationship with West City's Grant Stanton?" Keith's question annoyed Eric even more. Eric did not want to answer these questions that he did not even know the answer to. Fortunately, there were no reporters at the event. Otherwise, it would cause another viral sensation in their circle. With the Ferguson status, no one dared to spread rumors of what happened privately. We felt so sorry for you that Nicole married you back then with her *TTY background. She's so rude to Wendy too. Luckily you got a divorce, otherwise, the Fergusons' reputation will go down the drain. I don't know how a woman like that can catch Grant Stanton's attention. They even look much closer than she was with you back then. I never expected her to be so capable in this arena. With Eric's status, he should only marry a daughter of an affluent family. Nicole was just a gold digger that married into the Ferguson family for money, so none of Eric's friends liked her. Hearing Keith's frivolous words, Eric felt a trace of discomfort in his heart. Eric's eyes were covered with a layer of frost and his eyes were deep and dark. Enough, stop talking. Keith pursed his lips. At least that woman knows better and got a divorce. She'd better stay away from Eric. Eric was silent. His face was glum as he stubbed out the cigarette and threw it out the window. "Wanna go for a drink?" Keith proposed. Eric nodded. Sure. He desperately needed to get rid of the irritable feeling in his chest. After this little spectacle, Nicole became the star of the banquet. Grant Stanton also took the opportunity to formally introduce Nicole as the parachuted vice president in the company. For a while, there was more speculation about Nicole and Grant's relationship, but neither of them bothered to explain and only laughed it off. Nicole needed to get a strong foothold in the company before they announced her status as the company's successor. She must rely on her own ability first, so her network was most important. There was a lot of dissatisfaction within the company, but no one dared to object to Grant Stanton's decision. Grant even assigned his right-hand man, Logan, to be Nicole's secretary. Grant also set aside some time to give her extra lessons, so Nicole would stay in Grant's office for another 2 hours every day before they left work. Looking at Nicole, who was sitting leisurely in a rocking chair, Grant laughed and threatened her. "You're such a lazy bum. Why don't I get Dad to teach you personally next time?" Nicole immediately sat up. "Please don't. J&L's anniversary is in 2 days. They have a project to offer, so you can handle it." Nicole's eyes lit up. "Okay. I'll definitely get it in the bag. It's not that simple. Everyone knows this is a big slice of the cake, so it's not that easy to land this. I'll probably be abroad for a meeting during that time, but Kay should be back by then." "Is he coming back? I'll pick him up." Nicole had not seen her third brother, Kai Stanton, in a long time. The last time she saw him was when she watched a TV show that he was starring in. Grant smiled helplessly and looked at the time. "Let's go. I'll take you to dinner." As soon as they entered the restaurant, Nicole's face sank. What a small world to be able to meet my enemies here. Quinn and Ingrid Ferguson were there. "Where's the manager? Does this restaurant allow just any trash to waltz in?" Ingrid yelled.